Alright, welcome to round 8 of the FRL Division 1 Championship. Here we are in Hungary for what is going to shape up to be a very interesting race, especially since, unfortunately for Wolfer, he's crashed out and he's stuck at the back starting 15th. Row is also starting at the back, and we have a PC user that I can't recognize at all because it's just showing a dot for some reason. Or is that part of the... Okay, that's just strange. Anyways, I'm just going to refer to them as Dot from now on. I have to say, this track is going to shape up to be quite interesting. Speaking of, we're going to give you a quick little guide on the Hungaroring. So the Hungaroring has in total 14 corners to make your way around and 2 DRS zones. One down the main pit straight, the other just after turn 1. So back-to-back DRS zones. However, despite that, overtaking is going to be much more difficult than it seems, as really, those are the only real overtaking spots. This track, though, is quite difficult. I wouldn't say it's the most difficult track on the calendar by any means, but I would say it's up there. As this track, especially through Sector 2, has kind of an... As best we can describe it, it's kind of an uneven rhythm, where it honestly just feels a little bit strange to drive around. Sector 1 and Sector 3 are okay, but it's Sector 2 that's honestly the one that can easily trip people up the most, especially that these curves can easily throw a driver for a loop, and I fear that may have been the case for Wolfer. And as I said for overtaking, you're really only going to see most of it along the main straight and immediately after turn 1. Ideally, you want to try and make your move around the outside so that you can make a really good exit. And also, keeping good car control is important. A lot of these curbs can easily throw you off the track or can mess up a turn, leaving you vulnerable to potentially being overtaken, especially if you go off the track. That could easily allow someone to just take in that position and get ahead of you. So keeping it clean and consistent around here is really important. Now, this track has developed a bit of reputation. Oh, and Yenny goes for a spin. That is unfortunate for me. He's doing really well up until that point, but has to get out of the way of the AlphaTauri there. Doing a good job at that, but he's also got an Aston Martin fast approaching, and he's going to get out of the way of him. Yeah, because that Aston is actually on the front. No, he's on an outlet. No, he's not impeding. But this race is going to be looking exciting to see. Joining me in the commentary box today is Prid. So Prid, what do you think of this track? Prid?
Sorry. I think in this track is quite interesting. One of the hardest track in the whole calendar because it's too much corners with high, with low and medium. And we have, for example, turn 5 is a very challenging for drivers here not to be make this fast way and don't try to be and don't reach the track limits. So it's in general it's a very nice track for challengers.
Indeed, actually, I just realized, because Wolfer and Rogue both crashed out, and there are only 17 drivers participating in Q1, that means it's actually a really good idea for not Pop to go out on a set of inters, because if he can just set a lap, then he can make it into Q2 by default. And that would save him a set of soft tires, so that's actually a really good play by not Pop to do that. Kermit looking to do the same in the AlphaTauri.
It's gonna be smart. They gonna save a one soft tires at least for the race, or maybe for the quali if they mess up a lap. And well, I and I saw a curious scene between I think it was Jake and Gio. I think Jake uh, touched a Gio car, but both don't receive any penalties.
W at the moment. He was on a good lap, but then spun through turns 4 and 5, it looked like. Those turns can actually catch someone out. I mean, turn 5 actually was horrifying in the previous game. All you would have to do is slightly touch that curve, and it would send you for a spin just automatically. It was honestly quite brutal. The final quarter around here can also be a little bit tricky if you get on the throttle too early. It can send you for a bit of oversteer, or if you go in too wide, the curbs can mess you up. So you need to be careful executing on the final corner, especially since, well, That's immediately when DRS is going to open up. So if you mess that up, you could be very vulnerable to getting overtaken, or you could lose out on a shot to overtake a driver in front of you.
Well, the yellow flags, I think was Alpine. No, Alpine was Ghostly. He was on his low for the Alfa Romeo fast team. I was thinking he spun because in the point he spun, it's a very another tricky corner. You can easily, if you take a lot of curb inside curb, you can spun there, and maybe you crash and finish your quali, or maybe the on race. And Kermit is starting his lap on the Inters actually.
Indeed, as I said, it's a smart play because all he can do is set a lap and he'll make it. So not Pau, just by that, will make it into Q2 by default. If he just goes into the pits and retires, he can honestly be done. Envy, though, looks like he's choosing to go on the sort of softs, and he's already invalidated his flying lap. Did he invalidate at turn 1? He must have.
Uh,
That's actually kind of surprising. He must have been trying to take a wide exit to kind of maximize his speed, but that's a little bit rough. Still, we do have plenty of time remaining. At least I think it'll be hard. It's honestly a little hard to tell. Okay, a little under 7 minutes left to go. And meanwhile, Sebi's going to cross the line. Goes 6th overall. A good lap for the Haas driver. And again, that'll be enough to make it into Q2. Because if you just set any lap time, that'll be enough.
wow, it's a good lap for Q. Oh, goes to spawn turn 3. Wow, it's a good lap for quali 1. I think they go improve this lap by a lot when the time go have the track go have more grips. But for now, it's a very good time. It probably got past, but who put Inters maybe have a little risky more because we have three drivers already, and like Taylor and Envy are gonna be eliminated. They are making his lap now.
Indeed, this track can pose a major problem, honestly, in terms of traffic. It can easily mess up a driver. And especially in Sector 2, you can see a lot of cars just crowding up there, and it can be an impeded lap, and all it takes is one mistake to ruin you. Actually, speaking of, I think we have two cars off the track here in Sector 2. They're going to want to do well to get out of the way as we have a Mercedes incoming. Tellerball's cutting in a little bit close when he rejoined. I think he should have waited until Sugi was well clear before he decided to accelerate. Because if he just pushed it any harder, he probably would have clipped him. Thankfully, though, Sugi did make it through. And he's honestly on a pretty good lap right now. In this race, he's going to set a very nice time crossing the line. And here he goes. Sugi's going to cross the line. He's going to set a time good enough to go 4th overall. Nearly 3rd if he just gained a little bit more time. Still, I think that's a lap he's going to be quite happy with at the moment.
Kermit and Fobbs are making funny here, or I'm thinking here side by side with the Inters.
I mean, at this point, I have a feeling it's just like, hey, look at that, we're both on enters. Isn't that cool? I mean,
Yeah,
because, I mean, again,
and the
that
Ghostly Valley.
I would say that is cool, and again, clever, because you're saving a set of soft tires by doing that. So it's honestly a really good play.
Yeah, but if you see, they both are near to be eliminated. Special Pops have 6 steps lower.
Right,
But
and
what they are
and
doing,
actually, another driver has joined, so that clear window is no longer there. So if DK or Taylor manage to beat that time, then, well, they'll make it into Q2. Nopop is choosing to stay out. I don't know if that's the wisest of decisions. I think Kermit kind of saw that someone else joined and is probably getting ready to get a set of soft tires, just in case.
being hit tire on the track, with the track, no, sorry, on the bots, Master, they are making, and the top four is very close. It's less than 50 10, 1/10 to P1 to P4. It's gonna be a very interesting quali actually. I wanna see what go happens. And the Pop stay out. Maybe if Taylor or DK make a lap, they can easily out qualify Pops. in these old inters.
Indeed, I think Napop is really just putting in some practice, but I don't think he actually has realized that another driver has joined yet. I think Kermit has, either that or he thought that one lap was enough, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see him get a set of soft tires ready, just in case, and if he wants to do that, he needs to get out before 2 minutes.
And he improved his lap by 1 second. What is this improved his lap in the old inters, even on the dry.
Indeed,
Taylor
Napop
is in the outlap and GT is in the outlap too.
Hungary. Actually, Nappa crossed the line, went faster than Kermit. Well, there was ever a time for Kermit to come out. This is it. And speaking of, yep, there he goes. I think the moment he saw Nappa go faster than him, he thought, you know what, let's get out there on those slicks right now before I could potentially get eliminated. Because Sailor Boss is getting underway. I think he can definitely put out a time strong enough to potentially be in the top 10, actually. DK has plenty of pace himself, and both I think are capable of beating a 122. At least I would hope so. They are Div 2 and Div 1 drivers, so he certainly should have the pace for that. Taylor is
Well,
certainly showing
Taylor is
plenty of pace right now, going through his lap. He's really taking a lot of curb, which I'm kind of surprised by, because again, like, you can get away with some here and there, but he's taking quite a lot.
maybe he's just taking care because he realized some of the drivers on inters and he just needed to make a not especially a very good lap, but just a safety lap, like for being top 10 at least, top 11, because he can make it easily.
Oh yes, I think with this time he's absolutely gonna make it. DK, meanwhile, he still has plenty of a ways left to go before he finishes up. Killer Bosso, he's put in more than enough pace to pull this lap off, manages to go 11th overall. And this is actually not great news for Ghostly, perhaps, because he could be in a bit of a tight spot. However, Napop is remaining on track. So, I think if anyone is going to get eliminated, it's going to be Napop unless Kermit fails to improve. Actually, Ghostly has just
Ghostly crash.
crashed. Well, commentator's curse at its finest. That is Ghostly completely crashed out. So, we have two regular podium sitters at the back of the grid for this restart. And DK just needs to put in a lap and it'll be enough. And he's made it. Now it's a matter of whether Kermit can improve and beat that 118. And I most certainly think he can, actually. Ghostly's lap is more than fast enough. So Not I think, could be eliminated anyways if Kermit simply improves. And considering that he's now found over 3 seconds, I would say he has.
He's
So,
just making another. I think everyone after Wolf and Rube crash and see pops and inters, I think they just wanna make a safe lap because no risks for do a very good lap if
yep,
you're making through. And Pops now is on P16.
yep,
Who is
he,
eliminated him?
he's got to be pushed down because even though Ghostly crashed, he did sit in a lap that was faster than Not so Not by default will be eliminated in Q1 along with Ghostly, Wolfer, and Rogue. And that means only 4 drivers are going to be eliminated in Q2.
Very surprised. I wanna. This race now from the back to back. It's gonna be very surprised because it's gonna be have Ghostly and Wolfer, Rogue, who's back after Bahrain, I think, and Pops, who can make a very make it he can make some lives on the race a little more harder. Can defend, can attack. It's gonna be very interesting to see this back part.
Yep, that's going to be the end of Q1. Eliminated will be Ghostly, Nodpop, Wolfer, and Rogue. We're moving on to Q2 in just a moment, and at the moment, though, it looks like Max Verklappen could be in for yet another victory. He has been absolutely on fire, and honestly, Alpine in general has been on fire. been putting in stellar performances across the board.
Oh, we go have a lobby restart after K3 because Jake don't make his quali ban.
Oh, so Jake had a quali ban and he's not serving it at the moment. Oh, that is actually quite bad. Because he's failing to serve his penalty, it means he's probably going to get a harsher one later.
Yeah, it's. I don't have too much to say for now because of this. For this lobby restart for a little think. Well, K2 now.
Oh, actually, I'm looking at a bit of information here. Um, oh wow. I think Jake might actually be permanently banned for this offense because he failed to serve his penalty. And he was given a warning beforehand that if he failed to serve it, that he very well could. So, I don't know. We'll see Jake participating in the race.
I think we go see, but he and he I think it was like P4 P3 in the first quali. If he can race, it'll make it more interesting. Just because start from the back with Wolfen and Ghostly and Pops.
Indeed, but I don't know if he will. I mean, if that penalty will be applied, then, well, the lobby restart is actually because he is basically not serving his qualifying ban, which he should be at the moment, but he isn't. And it's why at the moment he's in Q2 and he's completely cutting the track there. But
Maybe he received a race ban.
I
I'm not
don't.
have sure.
Maybe he'll receive a race ban, but honestly, you know, like not serving the penalty that you were given, that's very egregious. Like that's really bad.
We will see what the stewards will do. And first car start his left gonna be Seb, the Haas brother.
He's been performing quite well actually thus far. I think you could very well get a good round of points here.
His first the Q1 of Seb was very good. If he was on the top 10. Everyone now go have more grips and know where he needs to improve and where not to need to improve too much. But like first sector, it's already 2/10 faster than everyone in quali one.
Indeed, it really Q1 is honestly I would say a bit of a warm up for some drivers. Just getting a little bit of a feel of the track and making sure that they got everything down. Speaking of, Max is getting plenty of the feel of that track, specifically the grass part of it, as he went off there, it looks like. Meanwhile, we have Yeti and the Williams making his way around.
Yellow flag.
Jake in front of him. Actually, I think Jake was actively impeding his own teammate there. Yeah, because Jake was invalidated already.
And Taylor spawn sector 2. And oh, there we go. 170.0.
That's actually a
Same
really
time as
solid
Suki,
lap.
I think. So where was that?
Speaking of, so he's getting his lap started right now. I wonder if he can put in sector 1 time faster. At the moment, Yeti can certainly put in a faster time of 116.677. That is a very, very impressive lap. And one I think he's going to be quite happy with. Because at the moment, it's faster than some really good drivers here. I mean, he's faster than Evie at the moment, and so is Sevi. I think this race is going to turn out to be even more interesting than I initially thought.
Yeti is a V2 driver, and he's very confident here in this track. I never saw him before. He's on Monday the practice race. He made the pole like 3 or 4 times faster than Wolfer. So it's gonna be very interesting to see this GV2 driver on GV2 race today in another team.
Indeed, I have very little confidence around this track, personally. I absolutely despise this track. In terms of driving on it, I don't enjoy it. Now, in terms of a racing standpoint, though, it does bring out plenty of good racing, but from a driving standpoint, no, I do not like it around here.
This track needs too much about side by side. And we have we who is finishing his lap is the Red Bull of Endo. No, it's I think Envy. Envy's finishing his lap.
Gio is getting ready
Gio
to
is
finish
finishing
up.
his lap actually.
Yep, getting ready to cross the
Yeah.
line. Gio's going to put in a solid time, solid enough to go third overall. His teammate is just getting his lap started, but we also have Jake coming across, managing to go second. At the moment, we're looking at a Williams 1-2, but it's probably going to be a Williams 1 after Jake gets put down to the bottom of the grid.
And he comes out one step slow. Oh wait, one step slower than Yeti with the pole. He's now P3.
Kermit went very wide at that turn. I'm kind of surprised that wasn't a lap invalidation. But apparently you can go about as wide as you want to after turn 11, as long as you're just a little bit on the track, and Kermit was. That is going to be a good boost in time for him. But will it be enough of a boost to put him in those top spots? It's enough to put him just behind his teammate, and that's honestly a pretty good spot to be.
Oh. Well, everyone is now is going to the bots. I think everyone here is gonna make another lap.
Indeed, now that everybody is put into time, this is definitely going to be kind of a quiet period. I guess you could call it mid-session intermission, where a lot of the drivers will just go into the pits and then wait until the last couple of minutes to go out on track and put in one more time. But it's during this kind of mid-session intermission where a driver can go out and have essentially perfectly clear and clean air and no traffic to worry about. It's honestly like this kind of time where I prefer to go out and sit a lap time because I know like there's gonna be no dirty air, no drivers potentially impeding by mistake or anything like that, or any bad scenarios. It's just you and the track for the most part. Because you can see at the moment, there are only 2 cars out on track. Kermit's getting ready to make his way in, and Taylor is going to be all by his lonesome out on the track, which is a really great position to be in, honestly.
You're gonna be the only. If you gonna have the good thing for Taylor, you're gonna have a very clean track for him, and he don't need to hurry about drivers being your front and puts on the left or the right. He just needs to stay calm and make his own lap. I think Taylor can make it to K2, to K3. And Envy need to. And another thing I saw, it's everyone the P1 to P7 is very close, just 3 tenths only for the pole.
Yeah, Taylor is going to want to try and get into the mix. His teammate is currently P4. I think Taylor Boss certainly has the pace to get into the top 10, but honestly, it's it's looking very close at the moment in terms of qualifying. I think Q2 is going to be a pretty big session where I actually think that a couple of surprising faces could get eliminated here. Speaking of, Envy is in the elimination zone at the moment. He's definitely going to want to get out soon and improve on that time. The moment we have Ando and Dot on an outlap, Taylor Foster continuing. Pink retires in the pits, and I think he's just satisfied with his lap, probably thinking, you know what, it's not going to get much better than this. I'm just going to go and take a little bit of a break. Taylor Foss, though, is not planning anything like that anytime soon. He's finding a lot of improvement here, but will it be enough to get into the top 10? One thing's for sure, that clear air and clear track is doing him a whole lot of favors. But going across the line will be enough to get him in there. Yes, it will. He manages to go 9th overall, but I have a feeling that there's drivers behind, so DK and Evie will be looking to improve. Ando and Dot doing the same right now as we speak. Actually, Envy's getting ready to go on a flying lap. And he's got his teammate coming up. Is this part of a bit of a plan to give them a tow, or is this good? Oh, Ando has actually
He's
spun.
fun.
Oh, that's unfortunate for him.
Your third one is you can spawn the if you don't. I think it's the hardest corner for find a very good grip and not spawn there because you need to have you make it's a medium corner and you need to take a little more careful when you go put all power there. And the Mercedes driver start his lap. Let's see what he can do. He's 170.7.
Indeed. Like you were saying, I completely agree with you there. You need to be, with these new cars and the new regulations, you need to be really careful about when you go down on the throttle because, well, for the old cars, you could get away with letting the car slip inside a little bit. These cars, you can't. So you need to make sure that you time it perfectly. So basically, putting on the throttle late enough to keep the car stable, but early enough to maximize your speed and acceleration. And finding that balance is honestly quite difficult, but if you can find it, you're going to have an edge over the other competition. And Ando, yeah, he
He
definitely, after his little spin, he definitely completely backed out, and he's going to make another attempt right now. Dot is finding plenty of improvement here, but will it be enough to get into the top 10? I'm honestly not too sure. Going across the line, he does improve, but not enough to get up there. At the moment, though, we're looking at Red Bull, both drivers 13th and 14th, and they're both on flyers looking to improve here. Evie has found the only attempted improvement in Sector 1, but it's going to be Sector 2 where it's going to be important to find gains. Max certainly has, going first overall into a 116.56. That is a very strong time, and I have a feeling he's going to be looking for yet another pole position.
I'm looking here some part of the tracks. I see drivers with going a little more wide, and it's not get a time. It's not invalidated in his lap, like that corner Endos make. You can use a little more the white line, and you still don't go back. And your lap is still go counting. This is a little bug, I think, but it's good the drivers they find a little more, and Amy go to the P3 with 116.7.
That is a very nice lap for Envy. His teammate, meanwhile, while he does find improvement, it's not enough to get ahead of anybody. He's still stuck at P14. Honestly, his tires are a little worn now, and he doesn't have enough time to go into the pits and do another lap at this point. Ando, I fear, will be eliminated, stuck at P14. Meanwhile, Dot's gonna make his way into the pits. I think he's gonna have just enough time to go out and do one more run. He's going to be cutting it close, though, to put it mildly. Meanwhile, we have plenty of others getting ready to go on one final run. Zip, is he on a cooldown already? I think he may have just made a mistake that he wasn't happy with. He's already kind of backed out on this lap. He is slowing down a whole lot. Gia, though, certainly is not going on a new flying lap, but he's already burnt up quite a bit of ERS, actually. Kind of surprised at how much he's burnt up. Kermit is getting ready to
I
go on a flyer soon himself, but he's on an outlap. But yeah, Gio's burnt up a lot.
I think Pink. Oh, I think Gio made a mistake there. He could cost a lot of time. But Pink was the first car to retire on the bot, and he feels very confident. But everyone is improved like 2 or 3 tenths of his own lap, and maybe he can be out of P1, big P2.
I mean, I don't know about that, but times are going to be looking close. I think Gio has actually found enough to get ahead of King going across. He indeed has gone fast enough to go first overall. That is a very good lap from Gio. Meanwhile, we have Zip going by, getting a little bit of a toe from that AlphaTauri there, and that might give him just a little bit more pace to get ahead of a few other drivers. Kermit getting ready to go on the flyer. I think you're actually right in that Pink may have retired a bit too early. Taylor Boss just crossed the line, went 7th overall, just behind his teammate. Zip crashes out! Oh, that is absolutely unfortunate for him. His best start is going to be P10, but he won't be able to participate in Q3 either way. In the moment,
Seb
though,
make the fastest sector two. Sorry. But Seb make the fast sector two and go finish his lap with 3 times at least faster. Or he just make a mistake in the selector, but I think not. And he gonna be on P2, P3. Very good lap.
yeah, that was a really good
Taylor,
lap. Kermit, I think, is going to make it. Taylor Boss, he won't be able to improve here. Kermit is going on one last flyer. Sugi's found a lot of improvement, though. It'll be enough to go first overall by over 2/10. Sugi put in an incredible lap at the last moment. More than fast enough to get into Q3. Meanwhile, Kermit is
GK
right on the
validated his
razor's
lap.
edge, but he's at the purple sector too. Taylor Boss is right behind him on his own flyer. Meanwhile, we have Dot. He actually, like, did he already finish a lap? He says so. Yeah, 17.3. That is not going to be enough. But going through sector one, he's already found an extra 10th. Kermit Cross, he went 3rd overall. And actually, I think that's just about everybody finished up. We're just waiting on Dot. But ultimately, Pink will be making it into Q3. His teammate, though, his fate's a little bit less certain because if Dot finds enough speed, he could put himself into Q3. And going through Sector 2, he's found over 2/10. If he gets a few more, he could beat Taylor Boss, but honestly, with so little track remaining, I doubt he's going to be able to find about, what, 5/10? Well, maybe not 5, but 3 more. Oh, and he made
Oh,
a,
he almost.
yeah, he made a mistake there. That's going to be costly. He does improve, so he'll be able to start 12, but that has just cost him a chance in Q3. So eliminating Q2
And
will be Zip, Dot, DK, and Endo.
I think Pink go think twice before he retires of the pit very early. He's now on P5, and DK, if he validated his lap in the last sector, I think DK gonna make it through and Zip and crash. So it's a little in the both Aston Martins almost don't make into the key three.
Indeed, but we do, and actually we have several full teams getting into Q3. I think we have 4 full teams making it. We have both Astons, both Williams, both AlphaTauris, and actually, I think that's about it, or I could be
Williams,
misreading. Yep, that's it.
Williams,
Yeah,
Aston
because,
Martin.
well, both Williams, both Aston Martins, both AlphaTauris, and then we have a Mercedes, an Alpine, a Haas, and a Red Bull. Yeah, I thought 4 teams made it because uh, 3 teams thought picking nearly the exact same shade of blue was a great idea. More specifically, Alpine and Williams. Thank you for that because it makes them very easy to tell the difference between. Hopefully, one of them decide to go with a different primary color, and then I can actually tell the difference between them.
And they are very close, just 5 times separate the P1 to the P10. But it's now to make who gonna be the make the pole. It's the key three time where everyone put his life on the lap.
And I'm gonna be honest, I actually have no idea who's gonna get pole because we've only seen times get faster and faster from everybody across the board. Anyone could get pole, and I would not be surprised. Well, any one of these top 10 remaining could get pole, and I would be surprised.
I go if you wanna make a prediction, it's okay. I go make mine. I think gonna be Matt, Jake, and Gio. I think it's the most saved. But it's not surprise if you see like Yeti or Sap or on Kermit there on the top three. The key of the street driver was actually very good, and they was like separate for only 1/10. So
I
this key gonna be very, 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 very funny for C.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out because I think all of them have a pace for it. I think we could very well see one of the AlphaTauri, Sugi, Pink, Max, all of them could contest for pole. Yeti could contest for pole as well as of course Envy. You can't count him out whatsoever. But this ending, it's gonna be close, and really it's been accelerating. As I said, Q1 was this kind of a getting into the rhythm of the track, and then Q2 you can see them speed up more. We're gonna see them speed up even more. I wouldn't be surprised if we perhaps see a time in the 115s. Although I think if someone managed to pull that off, they'd probably be taking pole.
Some drivers can make 115. And I was noticing, I was repair something like just once, I think just three drivers made just one lap in Q2, like Yeti and Matt, for example. They save one set of softs they can use now because we don't have a lobby restart, so they can use all his soft tires for make the fastest lap,
That's
and they
actually
go have like three.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Sorry.
That's actually a really great point because it's a lobby restart. They can burn all these soft tires as much as they want to. It doesn't matter. You could go in, you could go out, do a lap, and then go back in, go out, do it again, and just burn up all your tires because, like you said, lobby restart. So that means none of those tires will matter.
Yep, they go have this soft start could be very good for the race. Well, the first car on the track is making his lap is Yeti, but I think he's I don't know if he is one. I forget if 27 or 26 is the fastest. But he's the first car on track to complete a lap. He is not invalidated.
Yeah, Yeti is running quite well at the moment, and I gotta say that Williams, this is gonna be a bit out of context, but that Williams looks absolutely brilliant. I love the design of the car, like in terms of the color choices and everything. Delivery is great. Well, but they really stripped the colors down to save weight, and I'm kind of saddened by that because the car looked really nice beforehand, and now it's a lot less pretty looking, I guess you could say. But Yeti is putting in a beautiful lap himself. It's going to be enough to put himself very high, potentially. A 116.6 is going to be good, but not better than Seb's lap, who manages to go first overall now. Taylor Boss can't get into that 116 time yet. Envy certainly can, going ahead of all of them to take provisional pole. But we're waiting on many others to set some lap times. Pink crossing the line does enough to go only fourth, just a few thousandths off of Max and Sebi. Meanwhile, we have Gio and Kermit running through. Kermit getting very close to the wall there, doing his best to find any sort of improvement he possibly can. Despite that, only manages to go 6th overall. Sugi and Gio are finishing out. Gio, can he get enough to get provisional pole? No, he can't, but it's enough to get 6th overall. Although if he just finds 1/10, he could put himself into the top 5. Meanwhile, Sugi is being ready to finish up his lap. Where is he going to put himself? Going across the line, he manages to go 5th. But Sugi, he's gone way faster in the previous session. He's at a 116.3 actually. So he definitely has more improvement around here.
I just wanna think it was just gonna wait Jake lap. He's on the last corner. I think he's gonna be on P1. He make an extra lap because he validated his first, but he's on pole. But we need to remember, we have a quali ban.
Yep, and
So if he race, he go lost all the positions and he gonna drop to the back of the pack.
yep. I mean, honestly, if I were him, I mean, instead of doing all this, I would have just taken the L, just retire immediately and let that quality ban be served, and then just go and take a break. Honestly, I mean, if you're gonna be sitting around for a while, might as well just enjoy it. Just watch a show. Like I know what show is it on Disney Plus right now? She-Hulk: Attorney at Law. That's currently on that a lot of people are liking. Or rewatch another good show like Mandalorian. Hashtag not sponsored.
Matt's on on track already. Oh, he go make another lap. Oh, he validated.
Uh,
He
I,
was improved 1/10 for his previous lap.
Yeah, I honestly think he wouldn't have been able to improve in the end because he's out of ERS, but I imagine that was really just kind of testing himself more than anything else. He thought, might as well. Actually, at this rate, we're gonna see a lot of them come out for one last run. I don't think we're gonna see 3 runs from anybody. I think 3 runs would be a little bit risky, but yeah, he's certainly willing to take that risk. I mean, he would be cutting it close, but it is doable. He would just need to run out, do one flying lap, and immediately go back in.
I'm kind of surprised. This everyone bridge in Hungary, it's very close to each others. I mean, I'm saying that in whole quality, but it's very impressive how close they are. Because like you have example Max to Yeti, just one less, it's just less than 1/10, and they have 4 drivers in just in the like 1/10. So and you have a Geo, it's very clear, it's very near, and it's gonna be, and this pole is actually very good, especially in this track who need a lot of the driver.
Indeed. Now, obviously, qualification is important, but ultimately, it's the race that truly matters. But getting a good qualifying is important here because, as I said before, it's difficult to overtake. So if he can qualify at the top, he'll have a much easier time defending and keeping a hold of P1. We actually have Yeti running through on the track right now, and already he seems to be quite confident just sailing through these first couple of turns. Yeah, he is getting very close to the track edges, just pushing those limits. Has he found any improvement? He's found a little bit, but honestly, it's not Sector 1 where you're going to find a ton of improvement. It's going to be really Sector 2 that's going to be the clincher for finding improvement.
Completely
Wow.
shooting very well.
Yeah, he completely flew through that. That was a very nice run through that chicane. He is looking much more solid this time, but will it be enough to find some improvement here in Sector 2? He's found 3/10
Thanks.
now. That is going to be enough to put himself actually on provisional pole at this rate. Could Yeti be taking pole position?
In GV1, it's gonna be very interesting for tomorrow. It's gonna be very fun for tomorrow. This is maybe like a practice race, and you're gonna finish 1:16.1, 3 times clear of the second fastest driver. Jake is on the track already. It, this lap was very impressive. I know he can find more time, but it's still a very good, and everyone gonna be at the hunt for catch this time and want the pole.
Yeah, it's gonna be very close, but Yeti put in an incredible lap there. I mean, he's typically a regular Division 2 driver. He's reserving for Williams Division 1. But honestly, at the moment, he's showing he's got more than enough pace to be in the top division. And I imagine some team principals are going to be looking at that closely once we prepare for the upcoming season, as we are, at this race marks the halfway point of our season. Ironically, in the same way that Hungary marked the halfway point for the actual F1 season, well, in terms of summer breaks, in terms of race count, it wasn't the halfway point, but you know what I'm getting at. And actually, that wasn't exactly planned, uh, but I guess it worked out the way it did. Taylor Boss is getting his lap started. He's the only driver in the
I'm
117s, and I imagine he's not going to want to keep that time. Can he find any improvement in Sector 1? Yeah, 3/10 is more than a little bit of improvement. That alone is going to be enough to get him quite close to Kermit. I think Taylor
I'm
Boss could
doubt
be
if
fighting for pole.
Yeti. I'm thinking if Yeti go again for the track and have enough time to put another lap.
I don't think he has
I
enough
think
time. Yeah, he's only just made his way into the pits. If he runs out now, he could make it. But considering that he's staying in, I don't think he's going to head back out. Yeah, it's too late.
it's too
But,
late to the left. Oh, so crash!
oh, that's unfortunate. I think he could have gotten good enough to go into the top 3. Sebi across the line, and he's getting his lap started. Max, though, he's found a few tenths here. If he finds a little bit more, he might take pole. Taylor Boss certainly got close. I said he was improving a lot. and he's improved enough to put himself onto the provisional front row. Envy spins on his outlap. Max Verstappen, he gets into the 115s. He's gonna have provisional pole. What a lap! That is gonna be nearly enough to take pole, but I think we may have a couple of other contestants for that. Taylor Bossman in a good
I'm
lap.
watching Seb. He improved 1/10 of his first sector, and he's another GV2 driver. Another 1/10. He gonna be if he improve a little more, he can beat I think G or Taylor time.
Indeed.
And I think Gio is done. Gio is done.
So is Taylor, but Pink certainly isn't. He's on his flying lap right now, as well as Sebi. Sebi getting ready to cross the line. He's going to do enough to put himself 4th overall now. Gio, he's actually finished up. His best start is going to be P6. Envy, though, he has not given up whatsoever. Pink, at the moment, he's actually relatively even with his previous time. If he can just find a little bit of gains in Sector 3, it could be enough to put himself ahead of a couple of others. This is going to be close for him, but going across the line, he manages to put himself nowhere really. He improves, but not enough to get ahead of anyone. That's unfortunate for him. Kermit puts enough time to put himself 7th overall, but I have a feeling it may be 8th. Actually, Envy is down on his time a little bit. I think he's struggling around here. This is gonna be close for Envy unless he can pull a miracle off in this final sector. He's gonna be starting only P8.
He's improving his fun.
Oh, and well, he's definitely not going to be improving after that one. And I think we just saw a bit of the rear wing come off there. Envy will not improve. He's going to be starting P8. Although, actually, it's going to be P7 by the end, as Jake will have to serve that qualifying ban one way or another. And we're going to do a lobby restart to make that one happen. But that is pretty much the end of qualifying. We're just waiting on Gio to retire in the pits and Sebi to cross the line. That's going to be the end of the session. Max is going to take a stunning pole position in the 115 times. Yeti will join him on the front row, followed up by Sebi in the top 3.
And we can talk about it's a 1-2 for Alpine, but different divisions. Yeti is a GV2.
Yeah, indeed. Yeti is an Alpine driver for Division 2, but he is reserving for Williams. So technically yes, technically no at the same time. But Yeti will join Max in the front row, followed up by Sebi and Taylor Boss, Gio and Kermit, Envy and Pink, and Sugi starting 9th. That's going to be the end of qualifying. We'll be back soon enough for a full lobby restart. We'll be seeing you all then.